Welcome everybody to today's Change Matters virtual summit. It is a pleasure for me to welcome Roberto today. Roberto is a senior specialist and desk officer for employers' activities in Latin America at the International Labour Organization, also known as ILO, of the United Nations. Today, he joins me to explore what it means to catalyze change in the field where he's helping to develop independent, representative, and strong employer organizations and work to promote social justice. With an extensive background in economics, he has decades of experience working with organizations such as the International Labour Organization, the National Investment and Export Promotion Agency, Uruguay 21, and the Chamber of Industries of Uruguay, just to name a few. He was also professor of economics during more than 15 years. Thank you for joining me today, Roberto.
No, it's a pleasure, really. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Many of my readers were asking me about the context of leading changes in an international organization. What do you think are the key success factors to implement a change management program in the field at the United Nations?
Once we are sure that something needs to be done, we must define the change as exactly as possible. This way, we can establish all the steps and milestones we should achieve in the process of reach the final objective. And above all, we should be sure that everyone in the organization understands what we are trying to do. So in this sense, the communication skills of the management is crucial. It doesn't matter how big or small the change we want to do. Many members will not feel comfortable, which may affect them directly or indirectly. That is why it's very important that the proposal is validated and well explained so that everyone understands that will be benefits for the organization, for the employees, and for all the stakeholders. But, you know, understanding something doesn't necessarily mean sharing it. So we must work to be sure that change becomes an objective for all, or not only for us or for the ones who are proposing it. In this sense, we must create a space for people to think and contribute freely without running the risk to be excluded or criticized. You know, in any transformation process, there will be those who feel positively affected, but others that will see that the proposal is detrimental to their interest. In this space, it's possible that we obtain substantive improvements to the original plan, that we had, and could maximize the benefits and minimize the possible negative impact. This process, of course, should be iterative throughout the whole activity, analyzing what are the lessons learned and incorporate them to improve as you go along. So we have one thing is to identify the need and design a plan. Another different is to inform people what are you trying to do and achieve. Assist is to incorporate suggestions for improvement that arise from the interaction process with all the team. But another fundamental part is the implementation itself. Those who have the responsibility of implementing the change must be involved from the beginning. Many times good ideas fail because this doesn't happen. And you know, if people don't feel they contribute to design or don't fully understand what they're expected to do, it's hard to achieve good results. So that's the reason the leadership must stay always involved, because launching an idea and asking others to execute it just like that, it's not a warranty of success.
Thank you very much for sharing your insights on this one. When a couple of readers were asking me about the particulars of working in an international organization or in the public sector, they said, I don't know how to manage my and my people's frustrations with the bureaucracy. What 3 pieces of advice would you give them? How should they manage frustration with the bureaucracy?
You know, many people use the word bureaucracy, associating it with inefficiency, a cumbersome and slow administrative system that generates anguish and unease among those who are forced to go through it. It seemed as something rigid, based on requirements, rules, or regulations that often speak to be meaningless for those who must suffer them, so to speak. And for many, it's also a shield behind where bureaucrats protect themselves, people who are often considered unproductive because of the type of tasks they perform. And in many books, you can find, not new books, but you can find that they will see as a burden on society, particularly those who work for the governments or for the states or for the international organization. A first recommendation, we have to try to understand that bureaucracy is not something bad, and that this way of organizing how certain procedures are done, that from the perspective of management, of course, are relevant to obtain the expected result. Second, we must be restless. Most of the time, as the saying goes, our best idea comes from the others. So why can't we able to come up with a good idea that will improve the way things are done in the organization? If we are unhappy with a procedure to which we do not find sense, or we think that something can then be better, let's identify the channel to convey our concern and do it. No? The worst thing we can do is lament, bow our heads, and shut up. And thirdly, we always must be persistent. There's a play from a Brazilian author called How to Overcome Bureaucracy Without Having a Heart Attack, which tells with humor the story of a person who is alive, but who in the public records appears as dead. And to prove that he is alive, the bureaucracy forces him to carry out endless and absurd procedures, most of which he cannot carry out precisely because he is legally dead. So we must find a way to change things we think prevent us from doing our work more efficiently, but always with a rational vision that aims to achieve results and concrete improvements for the organization.
When you start a period of change in your organization now or in the past, and spoilers begin to emerge, and worse still, when you have a sense of resistance, but you can't really identify who is causing it, how do you deal with it?
Well, it depends on the kind of organization you are managing. But if you have the culture to have an open mind and spaces where people can freely speak, you will always find who is opposing, because they will want to do that. They will want to say you that they don't agree with what you are planning to do. So I think this is a better option. No, working in have an environment that allows people to be as they want and speak freely. No, why don't we have this in many organizations that are very hard structured in a vertical way, where you don't have a space to say anything or to bring new ideas? You probably will have very big issues and difficulties to introduce changes. And it's possible that even in this kind of space, as a manager, you will have very difficulties to go to achieve really good results. No? So open your mind, give opportunities to the people to say what they think, and consider honestly their ideas, analyze them. No? Maybe they are right.
So speaking freely, allowing people to do so is part of a leader's job. And that would help us to build on employees, colleagues, stakeholders, collective knowledge, and you can grow with new ideas. And that's just part of the process.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much, Roberto, for taking the time for this interview, for sharing your wisdom, experience, and expertise with us, and look forward to continuing our discussions.